The Polar Express, the Tom Hanks movie. No, like seriously, why is Tom Hanks in this movie so much? He voices so many characters.
You coming?
What would you like for Christmas?
The bell still rings for me.
Broken.
Not that I have much use for those.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about this movie. So first things first, for those that haven't seen this movie, what is it about? Well, first, just go watch the movie. Why haven't you watched it? It's a classic. Please go watch it right now. But anyway, what is the basic plot? The plot is a bunch of kids gets on the Polar Express, goes to the North Pole, sees Santa, and then goes back home. And it doesn't waste your time at all. The movie starts in the main boy's house on Christmas Eve. He walks around a bit, his family talks about Santa, and then he gets on the Polar Express. It takes no time before the movie is started. And when it does get started, they do a lot of wacky stuff. Like they go skiing on top of the train drives over ice, they encounter a horde of caribou, they sneak around the elf's workshop, they do a lot of weird stuff. But all of it is pretty entertaining. But something I like is the movie doesn't really explain a lot. Like for starters, is it a dream? Multiple times throughout the movie, they mention that it might be a dream.
Are you saying that this is all just a dream?
Also, some things in the movie make it seem like it was a dream. Like at the beginning of the movie, he rips the pocket in his robe. Then at the end of the movie, he rips the same pocket. Meaning the first time it didn't rip because it wasn't real, because it was just a dream. A lot of it implies it wasn't a dream. Like how he gets a bell from Santa at the North Pole, and then when he wakes up, the bell is still there. Meaning he really received it, meaning it wasn't a dream. I have no idea. But a lot of the stuff they don't explain, it's usually for fun. Like there's a ghost on top of the train. He's never explained why he's there, but it doesn't really matter because he's fun. Also, one time when they're riding the train, they get to Glacier Gulch, which is essentially a roller coaster, but they ride it on the train, which doesn't make any sense. Trains can't do this. But also, it doesn't really make sense within the movie itself. The conductor says since they're about to get to Glacier Gulch, they should slow down. But how would slowing down help? Like, how do you go down this steep drop slowly? You can't. And if you can, how would it help? I don't get it. But again, it doesn't matter because it's just for fun. In fact, a lot of this movie is just for fun. How does a train ride on ice? It can't, but it's just for fun. And I'm fine with that. I mean, it is supposed to be a magic train. And they even point that out multiple times in the movie. Like how time freezes. They don't explain how it happens, but of course they don't because it's magic. Oh, also something I noticed and I want to notice. In fact, there are a lot of details in this movie that I didn't notice my first time watching. Like on one scene, you can see a kid drew a smiley face on the window of the Polar Express. It's not much, but it's an Easter egg and I like it. Also, at the North Pole, under the Christmas tree, there's a compass where all directions are south, which makes sense and is pretty funny, but I just didn't notice. Oh, and also nearing the end of the movie, when the conductor punches all the holes in the boy's ticket and he goes to put it in his pocket, it disappears. It doesn't go in his pocket. Like the movie is trying to point this out to you, but I just didn't notice. But something I did notice and have remembered for years is everything the conductor says. The conductor is such a memorable character. Basically, everything he says is iconic. Here are some examples.
Why, to the North Pole, of course. This is the Polar Express. I suggest we all hold on tightly. Re-bicycling, something like that. Get us the blazes out of here! Or something. I may be just an old railroader and know nothing about lighter than aircraft, but from my layman's perspective, you need more altitude. These tickets are not transferable.
I've used all these phrases just with friends in everyday conversation. A lot of the time they looked at me like I was crazy, but I still said it. These lines and more stay in my head basically all the time, and I try to use them to reference the movie basically anytime I can. But the conductor isn't the only memorable character. Probably my favorite character is the main girl, because she has a pretty notable character arc. At the beginning of the movie, she questions herself basically all the time. Like one point, when she wants to bring some hot chocolate to the boy in the back, the main boy asks her if she thinks it's a good idea. She says yes, and then he says,
Are you sure?
And then she questions herself. But she ends up being right, because the conductor agrees with her. Then later on, when she's driving the train, because yeah, at one point she starts driving the train. Don't question it. Anyway, the engineers tell her to stop the train. She tells the hero boy what the brake is, and he questions her. She says she's right, and he says,
Are you sure? Are you sure?
And then she questions herself again. But again, she ends up being correct. But then, later on in the movie, when three kids are following the sound of a bell that only she can hear, the main boy then questions her again, asking if this is the actual direction of the bell.
Are you sure?
But this time she says,
Absolutely.
She finally has the confidence in herself. And then again, at the end of the movie, when the conductor finishes punching her ticket, you see lead. Because obviously, she's meant to lead. And her character arc shows exactly why. It's wonderful. But she isn't the only character with an arc. Like the know-it-all kid even has an arc. At the beginning, he's extremely annoying, and then Santa tells him,
Patience. And a smidgen of humility might also serve you well.
And then eventually when his taking his punch, he misreads it and then apologizes for it.
Hey, are you saying I don't know how to... Oh, I'm sorry. It says learn. My mistake.
He's gone from thinking he knows everything to apologizing when he gets something wrong. I don't like his arc as much because he doesn't have nearly as much screen time as the girl, but you know, it's still something. But there are still plenty of other notable things that happen to other characters. Take Billy, for example. Billy doesn't like Christmas because he never got any presents. The reason? He doesn't believe in Santa. And we know he doesn't believe in Santa because later in the movie, when they're following the sound of the bell, he doesn't hear it because only people that believe in Santa can hear the bell. But while they're following the bell and he starts to believe more and more that Santa is real, we hear the elf say that there's one last present that hasn't been loaded onto the sleigh yet.
Well, that was the wrapping haul, Chief. They just finished the last one.
How's it wrapped?
It's wrapped in candy striped red with a number 7 holly green bow.
Then a little bit later, we actually get to see that present. The present is addressed to Billy. The reason this present is so late and wasn't already on the sleigh was because Billy didn't believe. He started believing at the last second, which isn't shown to us because he starts hearing the bell.
Yes, I hear it.
I hear it too.
It's wonderful. Like seriously, this movie has some pretty good writing. Not perfect, but pretty good. Also, I like that the movie has plenty of callbacks in multiple ways. Like the main hero boy's arc is about believing. At the beginning of the movie, he was struggling with his belief in Santa. Then we see this animation right here. The camera goes into the desk and we have an x-ray through the desk to see the boy. This is the moment he stops believing in Santa. Again, which is why he doesn't hear the bell.
I don't hear anything.
Until the end. And we have the exact same animation when the camera goes into the ground and we can see through it to see the boy. This is the moment he starts believing in Santa, which is why right afterwards he can hear the bell. The same animation is used to show when he stops and starts believing in Santa, which is just ingenious. But like I said, there are other callbacks. Like at the beginning of the movie, when he was trying to convince his sister that Santa isn't real, his sister says,
And to hold everyone's presents, his sled would have to be bigger than an ocean liner.
and then about halfway through the movie, when they get to the North Pole, the conductor says,
They look like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea.
of course it's not a perfect callback because she's talking about the sleigh while he's talking about the entire North Pole, but it's still a callback. And all these small things like the callbacks and the random details that I didn't see my first time through make the movie amazing. It means no matter how many times you watch it, you're gonna keep finding more and more stuff that you didn't notice the first time. I definitely didn't notice these character arcs when I first watched the movie, nor when I watched it a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time. It took a long time before I actually started picking up on these small details, and that is why I love this movie. But not everything is perfect. Like for starters, a lot of people say the characters look creepy, because apparently they fall into the uncanny valley. I don't agree, I don't think they look creepy at all, but many people do, which isn't very good. But there are also plenty of animation mistakes that aren't opinionated. Like at one part, the trains start to bend. The train isn't turning, the train carts themselves are bending. This is not how trains work. But there are also a few choices they made that I don't really like how the parents don't believe in Santa. And we know this because they don't hear the bell ringing at the end of the movie, which again, only the people who believe in Santa can hear the bell. But like, if the bell is there and they didn't buy the bell, how do they think the bell got there? I mean, the kids say Santa brought it, and they even question that.
Who's it from?
Santa.
Santa? Really? Oh, that's too bad.
What's this? Huh? Broken.
But then where do they think it came from? Like, this idea that parents don't believe in Santa is in a lot of Christmas movies, and it never makes sense to me. Especially here, when we have proof they don't believe in Santa, but the proof they don't believe should be proof that he's free. I don't get it. Also, the elves are red. I didn't know how to segue to that, but the elves are red. Why are they red instead of, I don't know, green, the color that they've always been shown to be wearing? I don't know. Why did they make the decision to change their color? I don't know. It's annoying. I don't like it. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, like you probably could have guessed, I love this movie. It's probably my favorite movie of all time, just because of how many memories I have with this film and how much nostalgia I have for it, and because I have terrible movie opinions. But anyway, I love this movie. There are plenty of flaws and mistakes, but there's also a lot to like. So if you haven't seen this movie or haven't seen it in a while, I suggest go watching it. It's really good. But with that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Also, fun fact, this is what I thought happened to your luggage at the airports. I don't know why, I just did. Anyway, that's another video. Thank you for watching, I guess. I now have to do this outro thing with like a 20-second where the videos pop up. Well, I mean, not the click thing, I don't know. Fun fact, this is my second time recording the video, because the first time the audio broke, or messed up. I don't know, it didn't break. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's nearly 20, it's nearly, goodbye.